Hey everyone, welcome back to CAAF's Heroes of Sport. My name is Bob Babbitt, co-founder of Challenge Athletes Foundation. Every week, we get to chat with some of our amazing challenged athletes. This week is no different. I get to chat with Mr. Landis Sims, quadruple amputee baseball player. A movie of his life will be coming out very shortly. And the producer of that film, Mr. Eric Cochran, joins us as well. Eric, let's start with you. Talk about meeting Landis for the first time, because this has been a journey. This has been what, 7-8 years?
Yeah, it's been 8 years. And I went out to a baseball field in Mission Viejo, and I was researching some activity that was going out there with some Wounded Warrior baseball team. And Landis was a camper out there. And here was this little kid, with his bat tucked up under his arm, hitting shot after shot out into the outfield. And I was like, man, I got to figure out who this kid is. And that's just kind of how it all started.
And it's one thing to spot that, but then to approach him and then approach his mom, Amanda, and say, listen, I don't know where this is going, but I'd sort of like to film you guys. Are you going to be okay with that?
Yeah, that was tricky. Definitely tricky. It took some time. We gained trust. And, for a project like this, it's really all about building trust. And, over time, I just became really good friends with the family, and Landis and I developed a really good relationship. And, it just kind of took off from there. And we've been able to put together this really amazing film.
So as this film has gone along, it became something very important to you because you wanted this for your kids.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's really my biggest motivation for doing this was so my daughter could see, a kid like Landis who's able to overcome so much and thrive and just turn into the young man he is today. And honestly, that's all you really want for your kids is to see an example of that. And Landis is the person that, I would want a lot of kids to mold their life after.
The part of things that impressed you the most wasn't just his athletic ability, but it was also that it factor that he had no problem telling some veteran who's missing a leg, dude, you're missing a leg, not an arm, get the ball over the plate. So sort of the smack talking, the attitude, that impressed you as well.
Well, that's a lot of it. His personality is something. And I think if you think about, trying to play baseball without hands and feet, you have to develop, not so much just a chip on your shoulder, but a work ethic and an attitude that that tells people that, you need to be taken seriously. And that's the one thing Landis does is he wants to be taken seriously, and, he works harder than everybody else. And that's kind of the mindset he's developed through the years.
So Landis, when we first met and Eric introduced us, you were sort of a chunky little guy. And yeah, you even mentioned it. It's like, yeah, I was cute, so people sort of let me play. When did you realize that being cute is great, but if I want to compete with these other guys who have more they have hands and feet, they are good at baseball, I have to be better than them because I don't have hands and feet. When did that transformation come for you?
Yeah, that was probably about 7th grade that I kind of realized that, where I was at, I couldn't really, keep up with everybody else if I didn't start really putting in the work and, really trying to just really improve myself. So I think that was definitely whenever I saw that I need to start working harder. And then a few years before that, I kind of realized like I needed a new way to hit. I couldn't just tuck the bat under my arm anymore. That wasn't working. So then, David Rotter came up with the idea of the bat attachment, and that's just soared from there.
It changed everything, right? Because you, like you said, you were batting cross-handed, which meant you'd have to get really close to the plate to be able to reach anything. And when David Rotter came up, who's your prosthetist, came up with an attachment so you could put your stump in there, extend your arms, that changed the game for you.
Yeah, it was a huge difference. It made me, go from being afraid of getting hit because I'm, over top of the plate to, getting a little bit more space and having more confidence.
So when did you get to the point where you realized, you know what, I'm good at this sport, and I've got a hitting instructor, I'm working on strength training, I could make my high school team? Because at the beginning, I'm guessing that wasn't in your mind, or maybe it was. When did you think that it's a possibility for me to move to the next level from little league to high school?
I don't really ever think that it was in my mind that I couldn't do it. It was always, I just got to get better. This is what I have to do next to get better, to improve myself, to be ready for the next level.
Did having some guy following you around with cameras all the time, did that bother you? Or was it one of those things where you're like, this is something I'll be able to show my kids? I've got just seeing the video now of you at 7 and you at 15 is so cool. But was that part of it for you? Like, hey, this is somebody's documenting my life. I'm loving this.
Yeah, it was super cool, especially like in the beginning, when they told me I'll film a movie about you, I was like, that's perfect. Like, that's awesome. And then, as times went on, it's moved into more of a, it's a friendship. We're like family now. And whenever he's filming, I kind of just forget about it. And because that's really what he's taught me since day one. Just forget the camera's there and just act normal.
I like it. And Eric, for you, when you started this film, did you have a clue where it was going to go?
No idea. No, I no, honestly.
I love that.
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had a bunch of endings in my mind, as we went through the years. There were a lot of different endings that, I mean, there was a period of Little League. Landis, how old were you when you, remember when you pitched your first game when I was there? And I thought maybe that would be the ending. There's been so many milestones that Landis has achieved. And, each time I thought, well, maybe this could be the ending. But then something else would happen. And then, and then when it became known that he wanted to try to play high school baseball, I'm like, oh man, well, we gotta follow that. And, honestly, I don't know how I've ever decided to even end it, because I don't ever want to stop. And I want to keep filming and following him, but I'm going to leave him alone for a couple of years and see what happens. But if he decides to play college baseball, then maybe we'll revise it and there'll be a sequel. Who knows?
So Lance, when I look back at some of this stuff, right? You go to spring training with the Yankees, you throw out the first pitch at the Yankees game, and you're obviously a huge Yankee fan. A 5-minute feature on you on the MLB network. You signed a 1-day contract with the Yankees, with the Padres. You got to hit your first time up in a varsity game. Is there one of those moments that means more to you than the others?
I don't really think that any of them are really more significant than the other, because they're all, huge milestones into improving myself as a player and a person, and, being able to inspire other people. So I just kind of use all of it to kind of feed into, what I want to do in the future and inspire more people.
So when you're out at San Diego Tri-Challenge, or you're at the La Jolla Youth Baseball League, and you're seeing the way these kids react to you, because there's 2 ways you can handle things. One, I don't want people staring at me. I don't want that. Or you've grown up this way. So every time you leave the house, you sort of know the people will be staring at you. Does that, being a role model, does that bring a lot of pressure to you? Or do you thrive on that?
I definitely thrive on being a role model. That's kind of always what I've wanted to be. Because I look up to people, as my role models, and I'm like, yes, I want to be just like them. So I want to be a role model to other people and, show them, they may have a disability or a challenge, but they can get through it.
So one of my favorite moments was seeing you with Joe Musgrove and Dom Johnson, pitching coach for so many major league pitchers, and then Joe, who pitched the first no-hitter in Padre history. But when you first met those guys or spent time with those guys at Dom Johnson's camp, what did you gain from that?
I gained probably more confidence, because, guys at that level, they had confidence in me that I could do it. And, they saw potential in me that, they can really coach up and make me really good. So I think confidence was the, main thing I got from that first time with them.
And then Dom took you to the Titleist Institute. And I remember looking at you with all these wires and electrodes and all these things coming out of you. What came out of that? Because it was so cool being in that room with their sports medicine specialist and having David Rotter, your prosthetist, on FaceTime with these 2 brilliant guys trying to figure out ways to make you a better baseball player. What came out of that?
Well, what came out of it was, adding to my game. I'm switch hitting now because of it. They saw that I have more power hitting from the right side of the plate. So, the big thing was adding to my game and making myself better, a more versatile player.
And Eric, it's one thing that Landis plays baseball, but he also won the Pro-Am at the Switchfoot Adaptive Surfing Championship here at Moonlight Beach in Encinitas. Also plays on the basketball team. Is there anything this kid does that surprises you?
No, there's not, to be honest with you. There really isn't. No. I mean, I've learned so much just being around Landis, and that's the thing I'm so excited about the film is, we get to share it, with other, not just challenge athletes, but we get to share it with everybody and as many people as possible to, because it just proves what work ethic and a mindset can do. Landis is capable of doing anything that he sets his mind to, and it's a great message.
So this will air right before the Super Bowl, I think a couple days before the Super Bowl. And Landis, Just Watch Me, has a Super Bowl ad that will, a 30-second spot that you created that is awesome, that will air in Cooperstown, New York, right before the kickoff of the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday.
That's cool.
That's pretty fun.
It is. It's crazy.
Landis, any other kids in school have a Super Bowl ad?
Not that I know
of. Landis, you've gained so much learning about hitting and throwing, and you've had to break it down the grassroots. A lot of people, it's sort of natural. You've had to learn all that. Does that mean down the line some coaching, some managing? Is that in your future, you think?
Definitely. My plan for the future is to manage the MLB, hopefully, but if not, just coaching at some level of baseball.
And this time of year is basketball, or are you still doing baseball as well?
It's mostly basketball, and then 2 or 3 days a week we got baseball.
And when give me an idea, like for your training for baseball, how much time do you put in?
It's probably 2 to 3 hours a day.
You are committed. Does it ever get old, or do you love it every day?
No, it's the same thing every day. Reminds me why I love baseball so much.
When you look at the video and see yourself as that little kid, does it surprise you how far you've come?
It doesn't really surprise me. It just, it kind of makes me happy to see that all the work I've put in is showing.
Joe Musgrove, besides being a pitcher for the Padres, has become a personal friend, somebody you can text with. And how important has he been in this journey? Because he is somebody, obviously, who's done it at the highest level. So when you reach out to him when, this year you weren't getting the playing time you wanted, was that something you could chat with him about and get some support?
Yeah, definitely. He kind of talked me through, there's going to be rough times, it's a game of failure. So, you're going to have rough times and you just got to get through it. And, anytime I'd have a bad game, I'd text him and he'd kind of walk me through the steps he takes after a bad game to, get over it and just get him ready for the next one.
So fun. I can't imagine the kids at school. What were you texting with? Oh, it's just Joe Musgrove from the Padres. And, he's helping me through a tough spot right now. Eric, it was after Landis had just spent time with Joe and Dom, and you're back in Elizabeth, Indiana, and Joe just happens to be pitching. And you take out the camera and you're shooting Landis and Amanda watching Joe, the new friend, pitching. What were you thinking when Joe ends up pitching the first no-hitter in Padre history?
Well, I don't know. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. And then, to see somebody, and I've known Joe a while, and I know how hard he's worked. And, I knew that he would be an incredible mentor for Landis, whether we put it in the film or not, or whether we even filmed anything or not. I wanted Landis to know him, and then to see him succeed at that level, to make history in the MLB is just, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And I was going absolutely crazy. It was really
the odds of you being back there with those guys.
I know
when this is happening, for the first time, 8,200 games for the Padres without a no-hitter. And that particular night, Joe Musgrove pitches that no-hitter right after the. There's just been a lot of things that were meant to be during the making of this film, don't you think?
I do. And that's definitely one of them. And I still can't wrap my brain around how or why that happened. But honestly, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy that works harder. And I'm just really, really happy that Landis and Joe have become such good friends, you know, even in the off season, just, you know, I think Landis is going to learn so much from Joe through the years, because he's just such a great guy. So
What have you learned from Landis during this?
me?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I've definitely learned that, you know, that with the right mindset, anything is possible, with the right work ethic. And, you know, he's inspired me to, you know, to keep going on this journey, and, you know, to keep trying to get better at what I do. And that's really what I've learned. And I mean, a lot of things actually. And from his mom too, Amanda. I mean, you know, I just love their family, and I love the way they conduct, you know, everything they do is just something for me to model my life after, to be honest.
Landis, what has CF meant to you during this journey?
CAF's been huge with, you know, helping with grants for me to get extra training or for extra equipment to, you know, help me really thrive at the high school level and just, you know, be successful in what I want to do.
Hey, thank you guys for taking some time out to chat. I always love it. Every time Eric sends me a little update on the film, it's been every one of them just makes you smile, because this film is going to change a lot of lives. There's going to be a lot of people out there. I just saw it at the La Jolla Youth Baseball, just seeing how those kids reacted to you, Landis. Every one of them went home that night, and you know they're not going to be complaining about anything. They're going, wait a second, my back's a little sore. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. I saw Landis crushing the ball, and this kid has no hands and feet, but nothing seems to matter. Thanks, you guys, for taking time. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Bob. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, guys. Again, CAF's Heroes of Sport. My name is Bob Babbitt. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time. See ya.